You are trained to believe that armies advance with noise, with engines, with artillery, with columns of men and steel that announce their presence long before they arrive. That belief is not a mistake. It is a rule earned over centuries of warfare. From the Somme to Stalingrad, movement means mass, and mass makes sound, dust clouds, radio traffic, footsteps, tracks pressed into mud. By 1944, the German army believes this rule as doctrine. Their intelligence officers chart divisions by rail movements. Their aerial reconnaissance counts vehicles. Their field commanders trust one thing above all else: if an army is coming, you will hear it. That assumption governs every defensive plan guarding Nazi-occupied France. And it is precisely why, in the spring of 1944, you are ordered to do something no army has ever attempted at this scale. You are ordered to become an army that does not exist, not a rumor, not a feint in the distance, but a fully convincing force, complete with tanks, artillery, headquarters chatter, and marching columns, designed to be observed, intercepted, photographed, and believed. Your name is Sergeant Seymour Rosen. You are 21 years old. You wear standard U.S. Army fatigues. You carry a rifle you will almost never fire. Your weapon is expectation, and the enemy has no idea how completely it is about to betray them. The rule you are about to break is simple and absolute. You do not fake an invasion. No serious military power has ever believed that deception alone could hold the attention of an entire enemy army. Not for days, not for weeks, and certainly not at the moment of decisive attack. Diversions exist, demonstrations exist, but they are always anchored by real force. Germany believes this deeply. Their commanders assume that no nation, least of all the United States, would risk its credibility on illusions when lives are at stake. You may bluff with words, you may mislead with rumors, but steel and blood must eventually follow. That belief shapes the Atlantic Wall. It shapes troop placements. It shapes where panzer divisions wait, fueled and ready, to counterattack the moment the Allies reveal themselves. It is the foundation of German confidence in northern France. And in June of 1944, that foundation is about to collapse, not because it is attacked, but because it is obeyed too well. Because the Germans do exactly what their doctrine tells them to do. They watch, they listen, they interpret, and every signal they receive tells them the wrong story. The turn comes quietly, not with a bombardment, not with a landing craft, but with a radio transmission, deliberately sloppy, deliberately routine, intercepted by German signals intelligence. An American unit reports vehicle shortages, requests fuel allocations, mentions an upcoming inspection. Nothing dramatic, nothing urgent, nothing false, except the unit does not exist. And from that moment forward, nothing the enemy thinks they know can be trusted. You did not enlist to become a ghost. You joined the army expecting to fight, to march, to bleed if necessary, like millions of others. Instead, after basic training, you are quietly diverted. No fanfare, no explanation. You are told only that your new unit requires men who can think, adapt, and keep secrets. The paperwork says 23rd Headquarters Special Troops. That name means nothing. That is the point. By the time you arrive in England in 1944, the war has reached its critical hinge. The Allies are preparing the largest amphibious invasion in history. Every German division in Western Europe is poised to respond. If the Germans concentrate their armored reserves against the real landing beaches, the invasion could fail in a single day. This is where you come in. You are not infantry. You are not armor. You are not engineers. You are misdirection. Your unit is a bizarre collection. Artists, architects, radio operators, sound engineers, advertising professionals. Men who in civilian life designed billboards or mixed audio or painted cityscapes. Now they are asked to construct lies at battlefield scale. Rubber tanks, full-size, collapsible, inflatable, arrive in crates. Canvas artillery pieces, wooden trucks, Fake headquarters tents with signposts and trash dumps carefully arranged to be photographed from the air. Your job is not to hide. Your job is to be seen. The broader context makes this madness plausible. Allied planners know that German intelligence is skilled but rigid. They rely heavily on pattern recognition. They expect American units to behave like American units. So you behave exactly that way. You broadcast radio chatter with the correct slang, cadence, and procedural errors. You move convoys at dawn and dusk to create shadows. You build camps, then abandon them, then rebuild them elsewhere. Most importantly, you do this within sight of the enemy. German reconnaissance planes photograph your camps. German spies report your movements. German intercept teams log your transmissions. Everything confirms their expectations. Everything aligns. And because of that, they never question the one thing they should: why an army preparing to invade Europe is wasting time and resources in the wrong place. This moment matters because of geography. The shortest distance between England and France is the Pas de Calais. German command believes, correctly by logic, that this is where the invasion must occur. It offers the quickest route for supplies, the fastest reinforcement, the clearest objective. So when your fake army appears opposite Calais, it confirms what they already believe. They call it 1st U.S. Army Group. They assign it a commander, General George S. Patton. Patton is real. His reputation is real. His absence from Normandy is noticed. And that absence becomes the final proof. If Patton is not attacking yet, the real invasion must still be coming. You understand the stakes even if you do not see the full map. If the Germans hold their armored divisions in reserve, waiting for your phantom army to land, then the real Allied soldiers on the beaches of Normandy will have a fighting chance. If the deception fails, they will be crushed under steel. That knowledge settles into your chest as you prepare for the most dangerous phase of the operation. Because now you must move closer, close enough to be heard, close enough to be mistaken for the real thing. And once you do, there will be no way to stop the enemy from watching you. You are about to stand between the German army and reality itself, and you are counting on their certainty to save thousands of lives they will never know they nearly took. You are no longer preparing the illusion. You are living inside it. By late May 1944, the deception is no longer theoretical. It is operational. Your unit is deployed forward, closer to the channel, close enough that German observation posts can hear engines at night if the wind carries sound east. That proximity changes everything, because now mistakes are no longer academic. They are fatal. You wake before dawn in a hedgerow-lined field that did not exist on any German map 6 weeks ago. Overnight, it has become a division assembly area. Inflatable Sherman tanks sit nose to tail along dirt lanes. Canvas artillery pieces point toward France. Tracks, fake ones, are stamped into the mud using weighted rollers dragged behind jeeps. You are ordered to walk the perimeter. Not to secure it, to ruin it. You kick debris into natural patterns. You scatter cigarette butts. You overturn crates just enough to suggest careless soldiers. You drag tarps halfway off trucks to expose shapes that look like engines and guns. The goal is imperfection. Perfect camouflage looks fake. Sloppiness looks real. German aerial reconnaissance flies twice a day now. You hear the aircraft before you see them. A faint hum, then the glint of sunlight off wings high above the clouds. You do not hide, you stand still. Someone waves, that detail will be noted. At night, the war becomes audible, not gunfire, not explosions, engines. From hidden speaker trucks positioned miles apart, sound technicians play carefully engineered recordings. Armored columns moving over gravel, tanks idling, metal treads clanking, trucks shifting gears. The volume is calibrated. Too loud would raise suspicion. Too quiet would fail to carry. You sit beside one of the speakers with a stopwatch. 30 seconds of movement, 10 seconds of idle. A shouted command recorded weeks earlier by a Midwestern private with a flat accent. Then silence. German listening posts across the channel record everything. They triangulate. They plot movement, and every line they draw on their maps shows the same thing: an army assembling. Radio deception is even more dangerous. Every transmission you send risks exposure. German signals intelligence knows American procedures intimately. They understand call signs, authentication codes, even habitual errors made by inexperienced operators. So you copy those errors. Operators deliberately miss time acknowledgements. They repeat phrases too often. They ask unnecessary questions. You hear one operator mutter the same complaint every American soldier shares: fuel shortages, late supplies, confusion over orders. It sounds mundane, which is exactly why it works. German analysts flag the traffic as authentic. No enemy would invent boredom. June 5th arrives. Across the channel, men are boarding landing craft. Paratroopers are checking harnesses. Naval guns are aligning on fire coordinates. And you are doing the most important thing you will ever do in the war: nothing. Your orders are explicit. Maintain the illusion. If Normandy explodes, you do not react. If the radio crackles with reports of airborne landings, you do not acknowledge them. If you hear distant thunder that is not weather, you stay on script. Because the moment you behave like a diversion, the deception dies. At 06:30 hours, June 6th, the first reports reach German command. Landings in Normandy, airborne troops inland, naval bombardment. For several hours, uncertainty reigns. Then the German High Command makes its decision. They do not move the armored reserves. They wait. Because Patton has not moved. Because your army still sits opposite Calais. Because no nation would commit its main force before revealing its strongest hand. You continue transmitting. You request landing schedules. You discuss embarkation points. You complain about weather delays. And German commanders interpret the Normandy landings not as the invasion, but as the feint. Hours pass, then days. Every hour German panzer divisions remain idle is an hour Allied troops dig in deeper on the beaches. Every night your fake tanks remain visible is another night German generals hesitate. Then comes the moment where failure seems unavoidable. A German patrol crosses too close. It is not supposed to happen, but war does not care about plans. You are alerted just before dusk. A reconnaissance unit has pushed forward beyond its usual line. They are less than a mile away. Too close. If they advance another few hundred yards, they will see rubber seams. They will notice the lack of tracks under weight. They will hear silence where engines should be. Your commanding officer makes the call. You move, not to attack, to perform. Men scramble to position. Speakers are repositioned. Jeeps drive back and forth along visible ridgelines to kick up dust. A radio operator increases traffic volume, deliberately overlapping transmissions. You are told to light fires, small ones, cooking fires, the kind soldiers light without thinking. The patrol stops, observes, reports, and withdraws. Later, intercepted German communications confirm what they saw: enemy concentration larger than expected. You sit down after dark, hands shaking, realizing how close you came to ending the illusion with your own eyes. Midway through June, the deception reaches its peak. German command issues orders that would have been unthinkable weeks earlier. Entire divisions remain fixed in place, guarding against an invasion that is not coming, even as Normandy bleeds. Even as reports from the front grow desperate, they wait for you. This is the moment where truth and expectation fully separate, because the Germans are not being fooled by clever tricks. They are being trapped by logic. Every assumption they hold about how wars are fought, how armies move, how invasions unfold, is being used against them. You have not lied. You have behaved exactly as expected, and that is why they cannot see through it. If you find this kind of untold military history as fascinating as we do, we'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button. We believe these stories of ingenuity and sacrifice deserve to be told. And by subscribing, you help ensure they aren't forgotten. By late June, whispers begin circulating. Some German officers express doubts. But doubt does not move divisions. Orders do, and no order comes. Because every morning, reconnaissance photos still show your army. Every night, radios still chatter. Every report still points to Calais. The deception does not collapse. It simply fades slowly, deliberately, only after Normandy is secure, only after the beaches have become ports, only after the war in France is already lost. You will not know this immediately. You will pack up inflatable tanks without ceremony. Radios go silent. Speaker trucks move on. There is no victory parade, no acknowledgement. Your war ends not with cheers, but with erasure, as planned. You do not hear the moment the Germans finally understand. There is no explosion, no intercepted scream over the radio, no sudden movement that signals revelation. What happens instead is far more dangerous: silence. By the last week of June 1944, something changes across the channel. German radio traffic slows. Reconnaissance flights adjust their routes. Messages become shorter, more cautious, less confident. For the first time since the invasion began, German intelligence officers stop asking where the next Allied blow will fall. They start asking whether they have already missed it. But even now, certainty refuses to break, because everything you are doing still makes sense. Your fake army has not advanced, but neither has it vanished. It remains stubborn, visible, routine. Camps still smoke at breakfast. Vehicles still move at night. Radios still chatter with meaningless competence. From the German perspective, this is patience. From yours, it is restraint stretched to the breaking point. You know the truth. You know that the beaches at Normandy are no longer beaches. They are ports. That men who landed under machine gun fire now sleep behind earthen berms. That tanks roll inland every hour the Germans wait. And still, your orders do not change. Hold. German commanders face a dilemma no doctrine prepared them for. If Normandy is the main invasion, then everything they have done since June 6th has been catastrophically wrong. If it is not, then moving reserves now could expose Germany's most vital coastline to Patton's armored fist. They choose caution. They choose logic. They choose the rule that has never failed them before, that an enemy does not fake an army, that an invasion does not wait. That deception cannot replace force. Every hour they delay is another hour your deception kills men you will never meet by saving men who will never know your name. You witnessed the first visible crack on July 1st. Aerial reconnaissance reports decrease, not because the Germans have stopped watching, but because they have started watching Normandy more closely. Your commanding officer gathers the unit and speaks plainly. The enemy is beginning to look away, he says. This is the most dangerous phase. Because now the illusion must end without collapsing. Disappear too fast and the Germans will realize they have been played. Disappear too slow and you risk exposing yourself to advancing units no longer bound by caution. So the withdrawal begins, quietly. A few fake tanks are removed each night. Radios reduce traffic by small increments. Camps are abandoned one at a time, never all at once. You burn trash piles to suggest movement elsewhere. You leave behind tire tracks pointing inland. Even your exit is a performance. Somewhere in a German headquarters, an intelligence officer studies the latest reports. Enemy activity decreasing, Patton still unseen, Normandy expanding. The pieces no longer fit, but the conclusion is unthinkable. To accept it would mean acknowledging that an entire field army, hundreds of thousands of men, has been immobilized by sound, canvas, and expectation. That would not be deception. That would be humiliation. So the officer delays. He asks for confirmation, and that delay costs Germany its last chance. When German armored divisions finally move toward Normandy in force, it is mid-July. By then, Allied air superiority is absolute. Roads are cratered, bridges are destroyed, fuel convoys burn in daylight. What should have been a decisive counterattack becomes a series of fragmented thrusts, too late, too small, too exposed. The deception has already done its work, not by confusing the enemy once, but by keeping them confused long enough for reality to replace illusion. You learn the truth months later, not from a medal citation, not from a headline, but from a briefing document quietly circulated within intelligence circles. It states without drama that German command retained up to 15 divisions in the Pas-de-Calais region for 7 weeks after D-Day. 7 weeks. In modern war, that is an eternity. You read the sentence twice, then a third time. And only then do you understand the full weight of what you helped build. You did not distract the enemy. You froze them. You turned certainty into paralysis. You weaponized belief. There is no public acknowledgement. Your unit dissolves into paperwork and reassignment orders. Men return to regular formations. Some never speak of it again. Official histories mention deception plans in footnotes. Names are omitted. Details remain classified for decades. And so the tactic fades from memory, not because it failed, but because it succeeded too completely. The enemy never realized what was happening until the war had already passed them by. And that is the mark of the most dangerous tactic of all, one that works without being seen. When you are ready, tell me to continue, and I will write part 4, where the full strategic consequences emerge, and the quiet legacy of the men who won a battle without firing a shot is finally revealed. You never see the ripple while you are standing at its center. You only feel the tension ease. By late summer of 1944, the war in France has shifted irreversibly. Paris is liberated. German units retreat in disorder. Supply lines collapse under constant air attack. The question is no longer whether the Allies will break out of Normandy, but how far and how fast. And only now does the full consequence of what you did begin to surface. Captured German documents reveal a staggering truth. For weeks after June 6th, the German High Command did not believe Normandy was the main invasion. Not privately, not tentatively, formally. Orders were issued that locked armored divisions in the Pas-de-Calais. Panzer units sat fueled and ready, waiting for Pat. Infantry divisions remained dug in along beaches that were never threatened. Even as Normandy screamed for reinforcements, those units were held back by a single conviction. The real blow had not yet fallen. What they did not know, what they could not know, was that the army they feared most had never existed. This hesitation changes everything. The German response to D-Day should have been immediate and overwhelming. Doctrine demanded rapid concentration of armor to smash beachheads before they hardened. Instead, German counterattacks arrive in fragments. One battalion here, another regiment there. Never enough mass, never enough coordination. By the time full-scale movement is authorized, Allied air power has turned every road into a killing zone. Fuel trucks are destroyed faster than they can be replaced. Commanders are forced to move at night, blindly, slowly. The window closes. Normandy survives. And once it survives, it cannot be undone. Historians will later calculate that the delay caused by the deception operation may have saved tens of thousands of Allied lives, men who would have faced German armor in open beaches and fragile lodgements. Lives preserved not by superior firepower, but by absence, by waiting, by an enemy who followed the rules too faithfully. German commanders react with disbelief when the truth emerges. Some refuse to accept it at all. Others blame intelligence failures. A few grasp the deeper wound, that their understanding of modern warfare has been fundamentally compromised. Because if an army can be immobilized by illusion, then no map, no reconnaissance, no doctrine is truly safe. Deception is no longer a supplement to force. It is force. And the Germans learned this lesson too late. You return home quietly. There are no parades for what you did, no public speeches, no newspaper profiles. The operation remains classified. The name of your unit means nothing to civilians. Even many veterans do not understand what you were part of. When people ask if you saw combat, the answer is complicated. You faced danger without firing. You risked discovery without trenches. You stood unarmed in fields filled with fake tanks, knowing that if the enemy came too close, there would be no second chance. You were 21 years old, and you carried the weight of an invasion on your silence. Years pass, decades. The files are finally declassified. Historians begin to piece together the story. Museums quietly add displays. A few documentaries mention the ghost army in passing, but most people still do not know. They know Omaha Beach. They know airborne landings. They know Patton's real advances across France. They do not know about the army that never crossed the channel, the one that never fired a shot, the one that never existed, and yet changed the war. This story matters now because modern war still runs on expectation, on assumptions about how enemies behave, about what is possible, about what would never be attempted. The lesson you helped write is uncomfortable and enduring. The most dangerous tactic is not the one the enemy fears. It is the one they cannot imagine. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm that this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archives. If you want to join us on that mission, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that Sergeant Seymour Rosen and the men of the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.